Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel CryptoWare. I'm really very sorry that I could not upload any other video in these last weeks. Actually, I've been traveling a lot. So without any further ado, let's get started and move on to the next video that we were talking about. So in my previous video, we discussed about how we can install Remnux Linux, which is used for malware analysis. And today as well, we are going to do that. We'll just see how you can perform some basic analysis using Remnux Linux. And then we'll move ahead with the proper static and dynamic analysis. Actually, we'll move ahead with the dynamic analysis part. And then we'll combine both of them together. That is the static and dynamic part, and understand what are we actually doing. So let's get started. So as I showed you how you can install or download the Zoo GitHub repository where we can see it over here. So I'll just show you how we can do that. Like how we can use the Zoo for performing some basic analysis. And we'll be performing those analysis of a very simple malware that we all are hopefully aware of. Like you must have heard about it. So let's start. So we'll move to the Zoo. And where can we find all the malware? We can find it, we'll check it here. We'll go to the binaries. And here we can see a list of malware available. So we will check for ransomware if we have ransomware over here. So yeah, here it is, ransomware. There are a number of ransomware, and we'll just check out WannaCry. How does it look like? So let's move. Yeah, so here you can see that I have already unzipped the file. So in your case, what you will be doing is you will be unzipping this file. So you can just use unzip and write ransomware. It will ask for a password. So let's see what the password is. They have already given the password over here. So we'll just type a command to see the password. And here it is, infected. So once you unzip this file, it will just ask for the password. Yeah, and here you'll have to just put this password and it will give you this, the unzipped file. So we don't need to do that. So I've just canceled it. So we have this, which is this ransomware. So let's first of all be sure of the fact that this is ransomware. So we'll start with VirusTotal. We'll just check. So what happens is that you can either use the hash. They have the MD5 hash. We can check this MD5 hash. Yes, so we have the hash. We can either copy this and search over here. So you put the hash and then you can check. So if you come across any files, such kind of files, you can create a hash of it. Why is it recommended to have the hashes? Because even we can change the name of the files, but the hash might not be changed. And as a result, you can actually see that. So you can see that 61 out of 68 security vendors or sandboxes are telling that this is malicious. We can check what all scanners are telling us what kind of malware it is. Some of them are telling it is ransomware. Some are telling a lot of them are telling that this is WannaCry. Some are telling Trojan. So this is one of the way from where you can find out a lot of details. Now this is an already existing malware. So that is the reason why we are able to get so much information out of it. So on getting the details, we can see that it is giving us other details also. For new kind of malware, we will be figuring these out. We'll be finding this out on our own because, of course, they have a large database of all different kinds of malware which have ever been uploaded over here just to test what are they. So we'll be performing all these things too. And we have performed some sort of static analysis using tried this command. This tool. So here we can see the relations. We can get to know all those IP addresses, domains that they have contacted, some execution parents. You can see all those finds, PE, resource parents, what kind of details are telling us that this is an indication of compromise. We can see the drop files, so it has dropped few files as well, the PE resource children. We can see the graph summary. We'll be performing the graph. We will be creating a graph kind of thing also using while performing dynamic analysis. We can check the behavior. You can see what kind of behavior it shows. So memory pattern domains, you can see that it is trying to connect to some onion browser, some onion website. If you're aware of the fact that in dark web if you're using Tor browser, so they have these websites which end with onion. You cannot access these websites using a normal browser. So you have to install Tor browsers, which can help you go through the darknet, dark web, whatever you want to call it. Some memory pattern URLs, some shell commands that it had, process trees. We'll be going through all of them later on. Community, what the community is talking about. So what do they tell you? So they also, from the community discussion also, you can come to know about what kind of file is it, how did they find it out, how are they so sure of the fact that this is a malware. Another way that you can try with VirusTotal is just uploading that file. That would also help. But of course, as I mentioned before, using a hash is much better option. So we'll just go to the home directory, the Zoom, malware, binaries. Here we can choose ransomware WannaCry. Since we have already unzipped, so here it is, checking hash, and now it will give you the same details. So it is WannaCry. So there are different ways that you can use to figure these things out using VirusTotal. Another thing that we are going to do is a very simplest thing. These are the simplest thing that you can perform, and they are very beneficial for your static analysis. Like you can just use the file command and we'll just check you'll just check the file name. And the file command will tell you that this is PE executable. So this is all for Windows, MS Windows. Here you can get an idea if you want to perform dynamic analysis. So you are aware of the fact that we need to create an environment for this malware, which has to be a 32-bit Windows system where you can execute this and perform your analysis further. The next thing would be strings command. These are the very simplest things that you can anytime perform. You can do this for any kind of files just to see. So, okay, we have to use this so that we can see it in a very proper way. So from here also, we can find some strings. They could be indicators of compromise that they can let you know without even using some very different kind of commands. Of course, those commands are important. But from here also, you can get to know about different kinds of processes that they're using, processes or the function calls that they are trying to call. So we know that there are some functions, there are some functions which should not be executed or which should not be used. Or if you have installed an executable, say, and you're not aware of what kind of executable is, but you installed it for some reason. For example, if it is just an image editor file. So you must be knowing, or you must be should be aware of the fact that there are some commands that it should not be, or some function calls that it should not be executing. For example, what is the need of writing file? It means there is something suspicious. It is trying to write something to a file or something to the DLL. You never know what is it trying to do unless we perform the further analysis. It is loading something. It could be a normal one, but it could be a suspicious one as well. So we are not sure. So we can see it is trying to perform a lot of function calls. Going ahead, we can see that it is creating some virtual allocation. So a lot of time malware do use that. It is trying to free some library. It is trying to use some other kind of function calls as well, which is suspicious. It is using some DLLs. Some of the DLLs are some of normal DLLs that every kind of executables use. We can see that it is using str copy, some functions, fwrite, fclose. So we are getting to know about all these. Let's see what other details. Is it possible to check or see some IP addresses? Because why are we trying to see some IP addresses? Because a normal image editor, considering you were installing an image editor. So if there is an image editor, it does not require to, connect to another IP. It is not necessary. It is just supposed to use an image that you would be uploading over there, or sorry, importing over there. And after that, you'll be performing the analysis. So you can see it looks like a file. You don't have any idea. Okay, this is something we can understand. We can guess it as indicators of compromise. Sorry, cmd.exe. So it is it is trying to open the command line, Windows command line, and maybe from there it is trying to perform some execution. We don't know what these things are. Maybe these are just random functions, or maybe just random strings. A lot of times, just to confuse the analysts or researchers, malware researchers, they would use some random strings just to confuse. And sometimes they're not even necessary. We'll be checking them out later on. So we saw that it is executing, it is trying to open the command line, which is again not necessary for an image editor. We can see some more strings written over here, some random strings, some random symbols over there. So you can see just a simple strings command, file commands are enough for you to understand a lot of things about a file. So that's what I wanted to show you. Of course, there are other commands too, but we are not going to see that right now. We'll be seeing a proper static and dynamic analysis using our Windows machine, because we'll be mostly executing or we'll mostly be trying to analyze a portable executable file. So here it looks like a file. Maybe, and .wnry must be an extension. Since we are aware that this file is WannaCry, so we can guess that that's what it is trying to symbolize to. Next, going ahead, we can see that some more things it is trying. So we can guess that maybe it is trying to detect it is trying to write a message, maybe the ransom message that we mostly see in case of ransomware attacks, like you have to pay this much amount of bitcoins to get back your files or get the keys that can decrypt your files. We're just guessing that these may be the costs. Unless we perform the entire analysis, we cannot be sure of, but these are something that we are trying to do. So you can see that a lot of things which are giving us the vibe that yes, it is a malware. And we already know that this is WannaCry. So we'll just go ahead. Possible if we can directly go down. Okay, let me just pause the video for a while unless I find something interesting. So as I'm moving ahead, I see a lot of random strings and it would be very difficult. As you can see that it was very simple to find some strings, find some indicators of compromise related to the malware, but not always it is necessary for you to go through the entire file like this. And that is why we have proper tools and will be performing. So in our case since we are doing WannaCry right now, later in our videos, we will be analyzing PDF files, Microsoft Word or PPT, those malicious files as well. And we'll be using Remnux at that time, and we'll be using proper tools for that. So that would be more beneficial. Here, just I wanted to show how you can go ahead or just begin with malware analysis just using Remnux. And it is quite possible. Again, when in future we'll be trying to learn about Linux-based malware, so at that time it would be again very useful for us. So that's it for today. In the next video, we'll start with the basics of dynamic analysis. We'll be performing some basic analysis on our own. And I'll be showing you what kind of tools we are using, how are we using those tools, and how are we connecting the dots, and what rest of the information that we could get while performing dynamic analysis. So stay tuned. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you have any questions. You can mention them in the comment section below. And see you in the next video. Thank you so much.